The AI adoption problem is nearly over. Financial advisors have access to ChatGPT. Their firms are adding AI tools. Every conference has an AI session. And every week, somebody publishes another list of prompts advisors are supposed to use. Access is no longer the real problem. The transformation problem is just beginning. Because having AI available does not mean it has changed how the advisor operates. It does not mean the advisor has recovered meaningful capacity. It does not mean the advisor has protected their judgment. And it certainly does not mean the client understands the advisor's value. AI access is easy. Governed operating change is not. Intercom recently surveyed 2,470 customer support professionals about AI implementation. Now, these were not financial advisors, so I'm not presenting this as advisor specific research, but the platform deserves our attention. 82% of senior leaders said their teams had invested in AI during the previous year, and only 10% said they had reached mature scale deployment. That is an enormous difference between buying or trying AI and actually transforming the way an organization works. And I believe the same gap exists inside financial advice. Most advisors have experimented with AI. Very few have installed it deeply enough, deliberately enough, and safely enough to change how their practice operates. Access has become common. Operating transformation has not. Using AI is not the same as transforming with AI. Prompting is not transformation. Drafting an email is not transformation. Summarizing a meeting is not transformation. Creating a LinkedIn post in 30 seconds is not transformation. Those are activities. Transformation begins when the advisor diagnoses a meaningful constraint, sets the coordinates for change, defines what AI may and may not do, installs a repeatable behavior, and captures evidence that something consequential improved. A prompt is an event. Transformation is a system of behavior. The tool becomes valuable only when the work surrounding the tool changes. The Intercom research found that 87% of organizations with mature AI development reported improved performance metrics. Across all respondents, that number was 62%. Deeper implementation produced clearer returns. But the most important finding was not simply that these organizations saved time, it was what they did with the capacity they recovered. Mature organizations redirected the capacity toward higher value, revenue producing work. That creates an uncomfortable question for advisors. What will you do with the time AI gives back? Because time saved is not automatically a return. If you recover 5 hours and fill those 5 hours with more email, more content, more tools, and more administrative activity, you have not transformed anything. You have simply created room for more activity. What the advisor does next determines the return. The question has moved beyond, does AI work? Of course it works. It can draft, summarize, compare, organize, calculate, explain, and create. Can it do this is no longer the mature question. The mature questions are, was it accurate? Was it properly governed? Did it preserve the context that mattered? Did the advisor review the material assumptions? Did it improve the client's experience? And did it contribute to a better outcome? We have spent enough time being impressed that AI can produce something. The new standard is determining whether what it produces is actually good. Quality is no longer an optional feature. It is the operating requirement. AI does not eliminate valuable work. It relocates it. 40% of the teams in the Intercom study reported spending more time training and optimizing their AI systems. That is important. AI may perform more of the visible activity, but somebody still has to define what good looks like. We must provide the context, set the boundaries, review the assumptions, detect the failures, correct the system, and determine whether the result is worthy of being delivered to another human being. For a financial advisor, that responsibility cannot be surrendered to the tool. The more activity AI performs, the more clearly the advisor must own the standard, the judgment, and the consequence. AI does more, the advisor must own more. Recovered time without coordinates creates more drift. Imagine putting a jet engine on an airplane without first establishing its destination. You will move faster, but speed does not guarantee that you're moving in the right direction. The same thing happens when an advisor adds AI without first defining the practice they are trying to build. The advisor creates more content, tests more tools, produces more communication, and completes more activity. But none of that guarantees greater relevance, better clients, or more valuable business. Action without coordinates leads the advisor astray exponentially. Recovered capacity needs a destination. It must be deliberately redirected toward higher value judgment, stronger client relationships, greater autonomy, and tangible alpha. Otherwise, AI does not eliminate drift, it accelerates it. Deeper AI integration must not mean unlimited AI authority. AI may assist the advisor by gathering information, comparing alternatives, summarizing interactions, drafting communication, and identifying patterns. But the advisor must continue to own the client's real problem, the material assumptions, the professional judgment, the recommendation, and the consequences that follow. I do not believe the goal is to give AI as much responsibility as possible. The goal is to give AI appropriate responsibility inside a clearly defined human ownership boundary. Before deciding what to delegate, the advisor must decide what must remain theirs. It is your business, your alpha, your clients, your data. No one else can own that responsibility for you. This is why Advisor Crunch follows a governed improvement cycle. Diagnose, direct, govern, install, prove. First, diagnose the true constraint, not simply the most visible symptom. Then set the coordinates. What are we changing? And where are we trying to go? Next, govern the relationship between human judgment and AI assistance. Then, install one sustainable operating behavior. Not 20 tools, not 100 prompts. One behavior that can be repeated consistently. Finally, capture the proof. What changed? What improved? What did the advisor's judgment create, protect, or clarify? That becomes tangible alpha. And then the advisor repeats the cycle against the next constraint. This is not another course to finish. It is a method the advisor learns to continue using. AI maturity should not be measured by the number of tools an advisor uses. It should be measured by the amount of ownership the advisor demonstrates. At the first stage, the advisor experiments. At the second stage, AI assists with repeatable tasks. At the third stage, AI becomes integrated into consequential workflows. At the fourth stage, those workflows are governed through defined boundaries, review, and accountability. At the fifth stage, the practice transforms. Recovered capacity is redirected toward value. The advisor's judgment is protected. Improvement becomes repeatable, and proof is documented. The goal is not maximum automation. It is maximum relevance. AI maturity is not about removing the advisor from the work. It is about making the advisor's most valuable contribution impossible to misunderstand. The question is not whether you've used AI. The question is whether AI has actually transformed the way your practice operates. I created the AI Transformation Self-Assessment to help you answer that honestly. It contains 25 statements across 5 operating dimensions: direction and coordinates, workflow integration, human governance, capacity redirection, and proof of improvement. You will identify your current maturity stage, but your total score is not the most important result. Your lowest scoring dimension reveals the constraint that should receive your attention next. The workbook will also help you define what AI may assist with, what you must continue to own, and what behavior you should install over the next 30 days. Download it. Score your actual behavior, not your intentions, and find out whether AI is transforming your practice or merely adding more activity. If the assessment helps you see the constraint, but you have not been able to change the behavior around it, then the Advisor Value Design Assessment is the next conversation. Not a sales presentation, no obligation, just clarity about your next move.